What's up guys, Houndish here, and today I wanted to jump in with some Destiny 2 news. We're going to take a look at a new exotic that'll be making its way into the game shortly, and this will come via the Whisper mission, which of course also grants the Whisper of the Worm exotic. A lot of stuff has now been declassified to do with that quest and the various rewards, so we're going to talk about all of that stuff. It looks like we're going to be getting ship schematics more often in the future. We're also going to talk about some new PvP gameplay where we actually see time to kill changes for PvP on primary weapons. We also get a look at some new weapons, a solar bow, and I'm going to talk about slot changes, some weapons which are going to be reslotted in a month's time in the August update that comes before the Forsaken DLC. We've got words on collection updates, which items are going to be tracked moving into Forsaken, words about upcoming reveals for the expansion. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about in this video, guys. As always, if you do enjoy it, a rating down below very much helps me out here on the channel, but let's get straight into it. So first up, last week we got the Whisper of the Worm exotic mission, which showed up on IO, but just yesterday Bungie pushed out a small update that actually declassified all of the rewards for the mission and a bunch of new information, so you can actually move Whisper of the Worm around using item managers and things like that now. We can also see it in the database finally, and interestingly that third bonus right there is listed as high caliber rounds from inside of the database, but when we see it on the weapon it is actually armor piercing rounds. Just a curious kind of weapon secret right there. But we get a reveal of something pretty cool, a new exotic that we'll be getting as part of this Whisper mission as well. So you may remember I posted a video about the enigmatic blueprint. This is an exotic ship schematic. You actually acquire this by completing the Oracle puzzle inside of the heroic version of the Whisper mission. Something to note is that Bungie have actually added ship schematics as a new kind of item category in the game. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a bunch more ship schematics moving forward, especially with the Forsaken DLC dropping. There is also a separate category for exotic ship schematics, which is pretty interesting. So it certainly looks like they're going to be using this stuff a lot more. But we actually see the exotic that we'll get from the enigmatic blueprint now. So it's just been declassified. Here it is. It's called 1,000 Wings. Flavor text reads, extinguish the stars, devour the planets, soar through a universe of utter dark. And now that we can see that icon, we do get a bit more clarity right there. This does appear to be a carved ship, so much like the Agonarch carved ship that we got from Kingsfall, but this is a different exotic version, and it actually comes with some very interesting lore. So 1,000 Wings, it reads, among millions of carved scout ships, you know that this one is special. It is the will of the thousands that impels you now. So they actually refer to carved scout ships, so it does belong to that type of ship like the ones we saw from Kingsfall. But the flavor text reads, the demiurge of the hive is the worm, the demiurge of the vex is the thought, the demiurge of the fallen is the ether, which is survival, and the demiurge of Cabal is authority. These are the things, both constraint and power, which define the universe of possible actions. These are the rule makers and instruments which enforce reality. Give power to a guardian, and they shall know that power as a weapon, for when a guardian chooses to alter the world, they do so with the bullet and the blade. Grant a guardian godly power, and that guardian shall fashion it into a perfect rifle. The demiurge of the guardian is the gun. But we must remember that the demiurge is not the god, it is only the thing which converts perfect divine will into the imperfect material form. We may wield the demiurge, but if we do, what god wields us? Ulan Tan. So that's actually really cool. The word demiurge actually refers to a maker of worlds, a creator of universes. And that line, what god wields us, is pretty interesting because it is a reference to the weapon itself, Whisper of the Worm being a creation of Zol, and then us actually kind of wielding that weapon. So really cool stuff, very dark, and it's really cool as well to see some of these cosmetic items actually become important, actually carry lore, and be unlocked through endgame quests. So let me know any of your thoughts on it, but of course, we will need 2 more weeks of the Whisper mission to actually get hold of this ship. Once you've acquired the blueprint, you do need to upgrade it by completing the Arc, Void, and Solar versions of the heroic mission, so that would presumably be 1 per week. It's looking like the Whisper mission will indeed return this Friday, which would be the 27th, but I'll have to keep you guys posted. Either way, really cool stuff. On top of this, we can now see some Solstice of Heroes quests and things like that. So we have Welcome to the Solstice of Heroes, speak to Tess Everest to claim your free Solstice engram, so when the event starts, you'll go to test, you will get a free engram, pretty typical for these kind of live events. We also see an unknown quest for Solstice of Heroes, complete all armor objectives, and upgrade the complete set at the Statue of Heroes. The Statue of Heroes is essentially the vendor for the Solstice of Heroes event, so that's going to be pretty cool. We have seen a couple of other things as well. We've got Kate's Spicy Ramen, which is also going to be a part of Solstice of Heroes beginning on the 31st of July. That is next week's reset. So pretty cool stuff. Let me know any of your thoughts on Solstice of Heroes or that new exotic ship and the lore associated to it as well. Next though, yesterday I did briefly mention Game Informer's new gameplay, which shows a new game mode for competitive Crucible called Breakthrough. And this is actually on a map in the Dreaming City, which is really cool. Now, time to kill has been a point of conversation for pretty much forever with Destiny 2 Crucible. Bungie had said that they are working on time to kill changes for PvP, and it looks like we're potentially seeing some of that change right here in the Game Informer gameplay. So we can see a 600 RPM auto rifle. The weapon itself is called the Ether Doctor, and it appears to be related to the spider in the Tangled Shore, so it looks like it's going to be a vendor weapon that we can find in the reef. But considering this is a 600 RPM auto rifle, we can see it doing 21 damage per crit instead of the normal 17 damage that you'd see in the game right now. So that's an increase of around about 24% to that critical damage. Something really interesting to note though is that the body shot damage of the weapon is actually the same as the current value at 13 points of damage. So it does look like we are seeing some kind of targeted time to kill adjustment right here, but it's being done via a crit multiplier, so they are adjusting precision damage but not necessarily the body shot damage according to this gameplay. Triple Rec actually posted a Reddit post about this, and from the math that he did, that means that it'll bring the 600 RPM auto rifle archetype to the same shots per kill as the D1 counterpart. So it's going to be lowering optimal time to kill from 1.10 seconds to 0.9 seconds. And of course this is on our primary weapons in the game, so this looks like one of the first real examples of time to kill changes coming to PvP. Something else to point out from the gameplay very briefly is that we see a new solar bow in the gameplay, and this one appears to have some kind of explosive payload, explosive rounds type of thing. You can see this small kind of solar explosion when the arrow fires from the weapon. But back to the time to kill discussion, of course we are getting weapon slot changes, so people will be able to have, you know, rockets in their third slot, shotguns or fusion rifles in their second slot, so having that time to kill right on the primary weapons is definitely going to be important because of course people will have so many one-hit kill options. I mentioned yesterday that in an update on August 28th we will actually be getting a bunch of key features for the Forsaken DLC. Big things include weapon slot changes, bulk shader deletion, and 200 additional vault slots. Now some folks said, how are we going to get weapon slot changes before the actual DLC drops? Will we have the right weapons in order for Bungie to do that? And from what Bungie have previously said, we don't necessarily need new weapons in order to get these slots into place. So a bunch of our weapons that we have right now in the game will also be moving around. Some examples that we know of which Bungie have confirmed would be Hawthorne's Field Forged Shotgun. That is going to become a kinetic weapon. So on August 28th, if you have that in your third slot, when you sign back into the game, it is going to be moved to the first slot. Another example would be Main Ingredient. All of the fusion rifles in the game are going to go into that secondary energy slot or the special slot. So it will be the same situation there. Main Ingredient will be in that secondary slot, so you could run Main Ingredient, then you could have Legend of Acreus in slot 3 with your Better Devils or whatever in slot 1. That is going to become a thing on August the 28th. And then when Forsaken comes out itself, there'll be a bunch of new weapons which will actually populate all of those slots. In the interim though, we will be able to get some experience of that new slot system. It's really going to change up PvP, be able to jump into raids and see how it feels in there. Running strikes with the Whisper of the Worm and a shotgun or a fusion rifle, double sniper rifle. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun, guys. We also get milestone and challenge updates, director updates, heroic story missions, and those are the changes I listed on August 28th. That is 1 week before Forsaken launches, so it's essentially the kind of Taken King equivalent where we had the big sandbox update a week before the DLC dropped. With the update yesterday that declassified a bunch of stuff, there were further updates to collections and tracking in the game moving towards the Forsaken DLC. Edgar from Bungie on Reddit actually said, some of you are curious about the timing of when items are being tracked. It all depends on what kind of tracking data we have had available for any given time. Here is the breakdown. For some items, we happen to already have some kind of state that we could track. In those cases, you may see it tracked even if you removed it before Warmind went live. For the rest of the items, the vast majority, we started tracking them when when Warmind went live. For some items, we're just going to give it to you in a big set if you reach a certain point in the game. For instance, many of the green or white items. So there will even be tracking green and white gear that we've had in the past, but this will be done in a much more generic way, so you'll reach a certain point of progression, you know, complete the campaign, and basically all of that stuff will become available via collection. So if there were green or white weapons you actually wanted, you could go back and grab them from the collection. But Destiny Sets has actually been updated alongside this update to the API, and so Destiny Sets can now show all of the items that you've collected, which have been tracked as collected. It also shows any items that you haven't got just yet. So you can see right here a whole bunch of the weapons in the game. Some of these weapons right here I know that I've had, but they were very early in vanilla Destiny, and perhaps I deleted them, you know, in October of last year, so they're not actually tracked. But you can see all of the armor, all of the legendary and exotic weapons and armor. You've got emotes, ghosts, ships, sparrows, emblems, shaders, pretty much everything in the game is there. You have to sign in with your Bungie.net account, but Destiny Sets can be a really great tracking tool for all of this stuff, so I'll link that down below as well. But guys, for now, that is going to summarize the video. I hope you have found it useful or interesting. If you have, down below, a like is very much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe to see a lot more Destiny 2 content. For now though, I very much appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll keep you posted with This Week at Bungie if we get any interesting information. It looks like Bungie may be revealing a stream that we're going to see over the next few weeks, so that'll be pretty cool. For now though, once again, thanks for watching the video guys, and whatever you get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.